Hello, welcome to Curious Life. Today I'm going to be doing my weekly reset routine, and I thought I'd show you what this means for me, because it feels like it's easy to get overwhelmed and assume that a reset means you have to do absolutely everything in order to have a tidy house, and that just isn't the case. So I also figured I'd do a little experiment for myself and see if an hour-long maintenance reset routine can really make a difference. I've popped some befores in so that you can see the type of mess that we're dealing with, and I'd say that this is about average for us on a daily basis, just to accumulate this type of lived-in mess. It can be really easy to assume when you see people's houses on social media that everyone's house is always immaculate, and I would say that an immaculate house at all times is pretty rare. These are our spaces to live in and enjoy, and that usually comes with mess. But anyway, I follow the FlyLady routine, but I use the planning method from the sidetracked home executive method. I kind of squished the two systems together. I do have a video explaining how I did that, which I'll link below if you're interested. But basically I have my routines written out on cards and organised into daily, weekly and monthly routines. And today's routine is a weekly one, which in the FlyLady system is called the weekly home blessing, although I prefer to just call it a weekly reset or a maintenance clean. And what you do is you have 6 tasks that you would like to include in a weekly maintenance clean, and then you grab a timer and allow yourself 10 minutes per task and get as much as you can done in that time. The idea is that you don't push yourself beyond that time, although I will admit I'm not always great at stopping once I've started a task. But anyway, I'll explain more as we go through the routine. And the first task on my list is to tidy the main areas. For me, this is usually the kitchen and living areas, but it does depend on how messy we've been and where it's in most need of it. But it's usually these 2 rooms. And that's because they're the rooms that get the most use. And that's largely the point of this routine actually. It's a quick maintenance to keep on top of the main areas in the house. These are the places that have the highest traffic and are also most likely to be used and seen. So the idea of this particular task is to tidy up any surfaces or clutter areas and places that just gather stuff and just spend 10 minutes putting things away. I included the kitchen in this task today, but the kitchen tends to need a few minutes spent doing this every single day. I did do a little bit extra today and gave the kitchen surfaces a clean, and I cleaned the sink and hob too because they needed doing. So doing all of this did take a little bit of extra time, more than the 10 minutes that I allowed for it, but I do tend to be a little bit flexible on timings because some jobs take a lot less time and then others take a little bit more, which you'll see later. Next is dusting, which might not seem like an obvious thing to include in a weekly reset, but this is one that comes from the original FlyLady weekly maintenance clean, and I was surprised at just how much of a difference this makes to the house. It's not a thorough dust, and where I dust depends. If I have time, I will often run around the whole house giving it a good dust, but on days where I'm short on time, I just stick to the main living areas. This is a really dusty house, and it gathers dust quickly, so this weekly maintenance clean really helps keep it at bay. I think it's so dusty in part just because we have pets, and Cora in particular has access to the garden all day when we're at home, so she's constantly in and out tracking in all sorts. Then I also think the fact that this house used to be heated using coal fires makes quite a big difference too. Of all of the houses I've lived in, it's the ones that have had real fireplaces, even if they're no longer in use, that always seem to be dustier than those that have never been heated by the use of wood burners or coal fires. That's just a personal theory, and I could be entirely wrong. But among the houses I've lived in, which kind of range from about 500 years old to almost brand new, coal fires seem to make a house really dusty. But anyway, that was a tangent, and the point is that I found that a quick dust weekly really does make quite a difference. Next is another odd one that I don't think many people would consider part of a cleaning routine, but I allow myself time on the weekly reset to water houseplants. Which I probably should say at this point that this weekly reset is not the only cleaning routine I have. There is a lot more that gets done, and this is all part of the FlyLady cleaning system. Her system breaks the cleaning and homemaking down into various lists and habits, and this is just one of them. If you want more information on the full cleaning routine, I have lots of videos for you to check out. But the weekly maintenance routine is one that I use to remind myself to do things that I easily forget to do, or that I avoid doing, so that's why I'm watering plants. I am awful at this, and it's just that I forget, so having time to do this in the routine gives me a handy reminder so that at a very minimum, they're getting a drink weekly if they need it. This may have to change because I'm starting to get a lot more plants to look after. We're working on the garden and the house is starting to explode with seedlings that I'm growing ready for planting outside when the weather warms up, so I might need to devise a new routine for keeping up with all of that. So the next thing on the list is also one that won't appear on everyone's weekly maintenance, and that's to put away laundry. If you've been watching for a while, then you already know that I am terrible at putting laundry away. I can wash it fine, but after that the entire process just falls apart for me. Some weeks I have loads of laundry to put away and others I don't have very much. This week is one where I only have a few bits to put away, so it took barely any time at all. If anyone has any tips on how to keep up with this, then please do let me know in the comments. I just always forget it, or when I do notice it, I'm already busy doing something else, so I could really do with a workaround that works. And I'm on to the last couple of tasks on the list. First is vacuuming, and then I'll mop afterwards. This is a task that I often do more than just once a week, but the big point of this task is to get the floor mopped. So I include a vacuum first because it just makes sense to, and our floors always need it. Even after vacuuming now, in about half an hour, they'll need it again. Especially at the moment, we have been doing quite a lot of work in the garden because in our infinite wisdom, we've decided to take on doing all of the garden landscaping ourselves and have put aside half a day every week to make progress on it. And there is a lot of digging and a lot of mud, and between us tracking it in when we're working out there and the dogs spending so much time out there all day every day, there just seems to be a constant supply of muddy floors to deal with. It's all good though. Muddy floors are just a sign of the progress we're making, and that is just part of the process. So every time I show you my floors for the foreseeable future, just expect them to look a mess, because they definitely will. But right now, vacuuming makes such a big difference. I have vacuum or sweep downstairs on my daily routine as well. I don't always do it daily, but it's good to have a reminder to keep on top of the floors, because clean floors make such a big difference to how clean a house looks. If I have visitors coming over, this is one of the tasks that I will definitely do, because it makes an entire room feel cleaner, and I think a clean floor makes it look like you're on top of things, even if you're not really, and I am rarely on top of things. And that's us done for the day. I'll just show you the before and after pictures again so that you can see the difference that just an hour makes in making things tidier and cleaner. I love this routine. It's one of my favourites from the FlyLady system. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you've got this far, then thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here and keeping me company. If you're new, then welcome. I'm Issa and I make intentional living videos like this with my wife Blaise, and we have a lot of really lovely projects coming up that I cannot wait to share with you. But for now, thank you for watching. I hope you have a lovely day.